host this event with Scott from Sudbury Work Center.
And I'm delighted to be co-hosting it with Sabrina from
Yes,
HY Voyagers. And we started this partnership. We've worked together on many different things, knowledge to people who are new to Canada and need to find work. So I've been learning a lot from Sabrina, so I'm excited to learn even more today as we continue on. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge that most of us are newcomers to this land at one time or another. This is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe people. Specifically, it's the shared territory of the Atikameksheng Anishinaabe and the Wahnapitae First Nations. This is what's called the Huron-Robinson Treaty Area, which means that there have been agreements between the colonial, the federal, and provincial governments with the Indigenous peoples in this area. But that doesn't always mean that we have respected those treaties.
Our organization, HY Voyagers, we are a community-driven organization dedicated to support international students and accomplished immigrants like you. We focus on providing career guidance, like what we're doing right now, and also we provide networking opportunities, and I could see that you guys had a good time talking to each other, so there's networking opportunities, and also culture integration support, and many more catered services regarding your study, work, life in Canada. And what is so special about us is that we are founded by international students and for international students and immigrants. We do have a mission. Our mission is to revolutionize the experience of international students and immigrants.
Advocacy Center, that's a whole lot to say. You can just call us the Sudbury Worker Center. We are a small nonprofit organization made up of workers, students, and community volunteers, all dedicated to improving the lives and the working conditions of those in low-waged, precarious, insecure employment. There's more to you than just your job, that a work-life balance is really important. And we also understand that we can't make things better for you in your job if we're not also trying to make things better in society in general. So what we do is we provide education on workplace rights, advocacy for fair labor practices to try and get both businesses to be better and to encourage governments to make stronger laws and to change laws to make them better. And if workers have need support in accessing services or filing claims or figuring out how to approach their boss about an issue, we can help support with all of those issues. And our services are free and confidential. Free being the important part.
Yeah. Now let's understand the landscape. We have a reality check. Let's have a reality check. Not all resumes are the same. We're here for resumes, for resume building. Not all of them are the same. You need a resume that is both right for you, right for the job you're seeking, and also meets cultural expectations in Canada. That's what we're trying to do here. And I know there are a lot of challenges. I get you. That's why I encourage everyone to have a mindset shift. We encourage you to view all those challenges as opportunities, because each obstacle, as international students or immigrants or newcomers, you overcome makes you more resilient and adaptable. And these two qualities are highly valued by Canadian employers. I would argue by employers all over the world. First impressions count. Well, we encourage everyone to have good impressions on your potential employers for sure. So we want to encourage you to see your resume as a marketing tool. It is crucial to grab the employer's attention so that you can convince them you're the right fit. I don't know whether you guys know a ping pong player called Wang Chuxin. Yes, a ping pong player. I remember how he's a world champion. I remember how he got selected. He went to a room full of coaches, and then one coach who had the decision power look at this guy, Wang Chuxin, a little kid, because Wang Chuxin walked to the room like having this kind of poster, meaning that I got this, everything's good, and I got everything you might need. So that kind of attitude, that kind of impression, make the coach select him to be in the in their team, because yeah, that's impression, because they didn't even try to see the kids' skills, like ping pong skills, whatever, just by the kids' presence, being confident, made a strong impression on the coach. That's why the coach chose him. The same goes with resume. A resume will be the first point of contact between you and the potential employers. That's why it's very important for you to pay attention to this, to see how you can make a strong impression on your potential employers. And we want to stand out, because a lot of people want the same thing. They want to have a good resume that makes impressions on employers. However, there are so many resumes you want to stand out, and we're going to guide you through the whole journey, such as understanding the competitive job market in Canada. The job market right now is quite competitive, I would say, especially for newcomers, international students. That's why we need to write a really good Canadian resume, understand the characteristics of Canadian style resume, where we learn how to highlight your unique strengths and skills to make an impact. And there we are. Actually, there are three main types of resumes: chronological resume, functional resume, and hybrid resume. How many of you guys have a resume? Everybody. Everybody.
Include your social insurance number. That is private information that the employer only needs should they choose to.
She told the community before we look for a job, we should have our Instagram or LinkedIn, and to post some live some information about our life. Mm-hmm. That is our personal information. However, I think so. But in this slide, you told us don't give personal information to the employer. But however, the employer sometimes they will ask for some accounts. For example, Instagram's account or LinkedIn account. Should we give them?
So what I would say, perhaps Sabrina will add to this, is the only social media account that you want to include in your resume should be LinkedIn, because it shows it's got room for all sorts of your professional attributes. Once you're past the initial stage of getting your resume in, if you're asked for an interview or something like that, at that point, maybe you wish to disclose some other elements of your social media life to the employer, but if they're specifically asking for that, there might be some flags that you want to think about there. And also, any employer can go and look for anybody, any employees, whether it's a current employee or a prospective employee, can go and look at your social media, right? So I can take your name and go look it up on Facebook or TikTok or anything else and potentially be able to find you. If you're posting stuff that is potentially going to get you not make an employer happy, you may wish to go through and clear that off of your social media life anyway, right? If you're constantly posting stuff on social media about how much you like to party on the weekend and how stupid and drunk you get and how pictures of you doing really inappropriate things, that might not look good for any potential employer, right? So you may already wish to scrub those things anyway. Anything you want to add to that, Sabrina?
Yes. Let's go back to this first for a little bit. For LinkedIn, you just mentioned. Actually, LinkedIn is the most powerful tool that you can ever expect in terms of looking for a job in North America in general. Because that's where you can actually connect with people directly. You can talk to them, you get to know their background. You can talk to your alumni, like your schoolmates. So that's the best way. For LinkedIn, normally it is expected to have your LinkedIn URL on top of your resume, on the top of it is going to be your name, your email, your contact information. So on top of there, normally employers expect to see the URL link right there, your LinkedIn URL. So yeah, LinkedIn for sure. Actually, I have quite some conversations with recruiters and human resource managers about this thing, because the thing is, I said that, okay, on a resume, you cannot reveal your age, right? Okay, however, if you look at all those kind of work history from this year to that year, that year to that year, you know, graduation year, you can sort of sort out, like, you know, how old you are, sort of, you know, that range will be there. Then what do we do about that? Is, well, it is what it is. We'll have to respect that. Yes, we can sort of, you know, guess, but still, it is not, normally we don't expect age on a resume. It just, don't do that. However, for, what is it, Instagram, or Facebook, all those kind of, can be personal social media. But that one is, it depends. Like Scott said, if you have your personal social media accounts open to everyone, and then your potential employers can see you going all crazy sometimes, and they might not like you, because, you know, they expect. The thing is, why they go through your social media platforms? They want to understand you as who you are as a person, as a whole. That's why they want to go through all those social media platforms. However, it can work against you or it can work for you. That's why we call it personal branding in job hunting. If you have Instagram and also Facebook and Twitter, all those things where you post your volunteer work here and there, your school activities, and what kind of achievements you have, and then you show all those kind of trophies here and there, pictures like that. That's actually work for you, because, you know, they see you as a person, who you are. They feel like they can be more convinced that you can be a good employee based on who you are, instead of just getting to know you through interviews. Some people do this. They have two accounts for Instagrams. One would be open to everyone. That would be like, you know, their public image. And the other one would be for their private one, only open to some certain people, friends. Facebook goes the same way. That's sometimes what people do. Yes?
Why I ask this question, because I don't want to post anything about my life. Is that okay? If I don't own any accounts, including Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, I don't have. It's true, I don't have. It's okay?
Yeah, like I said, the only account that I would consider posting on a resume would be LinkedIn. For all the reasons Sabrina talked about, but the others I wouldn't necessarily put in unless I thought there was some reason that it would be relevant to the job, but otherwise I wouldn't.
Yes, relevant to the job, great point. Like, for example, designers, they want to show their work.
Yeah,
and then
but there are other ways to do that as well. This might be a larger conversation for another thing, so let's move on here. I think you've got a preliminary answer to the question, and if you want to dive deeper, Sabrina and I will get into it later on. All right, so, oh no, this is still you.
Yeah, well, in order to craft an effective resume, we have 3 factors involved in this. The first one is tailoring, second, ATS optimization, and the third one, Canadian style formatting. We're gonna get into each one of them right now. For the first one, tailoring. How many of you guys have tailored your resume to a particular job you applied for before? You did it? 1, 2? Okay, only 2? Okay, you haven't. You haven't done that. Okay. Not yet. All right. This is really crucial in terms of looking for a job. You have to customize your resume for each application you apply for. I know it's a lot of work. It doesn't, well, it sounds a lot of work, and it is a lot of work. However, you gotta do that to increase your chances of getting hired and also getting interviews. Second, you need to use keywords from the job description. You need to identify those keywords from the job description, and then you naturally incorporate them to your resume. You also need to highlight your skills and experiences most relevant to the position, because you have a lot of skills and experiences, but you want to highlight those that are most relevant to the position. Like you just mentioned that, fast food delivery might not be that relevant, so you don't have to include that one. And also, you need to adjust your professional summary to match the job requirements as well, the summary part. The second one is ATS strategies. How many of you guys have heard of such a term called ATS? No? Okay. This is also crucial. ATS stands for Applicant Tracking System. This is something a lot of Canadian employers use to screen resumes that get to humanize. ATS is like, you have to go through ATS, otherwise your resume wouldn't be able to end up on a recruiter's desk. You need to use simple and standard formatting. I see a lot of resumes with like tables and columns and colors and designs and graphics on the resume. Don't do that. You might not have a chance to go through this ATS system. And then you need to include keywords from the job posting, because the ATS will see how relevant your resume to the job. If it's not relevant, they don't have time for you. Bye-bye for now. And then also, you need to use standard section headings like work experience, education, such sections very clearly laid out. And also, you want to save your resume in a compatible file format like docs or PDF. That's ATS. Let's move on to Canadian style formatting. Use a clean professional one, like these two are recommended. This font are recommended. And also, like I just mentioned, you need to keep your resume to 1 to 2 pages maximum. No one has that much time to read through everything. Just relevant ones, 1 to 2 pages should be good enough. And you try to use Canadian spelling, like color instead of color. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and also, like here, we just mentioned that include your LinkedIn profile URL if it's up to date and professional.
Covers pretty much all of the major things that you want to do. So before you send that resume out, you've got all that information, in your contact information, your profile, you've done the work, your chronological work, you've done your education, then you've filled in all those other sections. You want to make sure that you've reviewed it for spelling and grammar errors, that the formatting is consistent, and don't be shy. Get somebody to take a look at your resume, a friend, a colleague, a mentor, anybody else. It's easier for somebody else to see the things that you're skipping over than it is for you, right? You've been staring at this thing for 3 hours already. Of course it looks fine to you. Somebody else notices that thing that your eye have been glazing over, right? Many of us get all sorts of different certifications for all sorts of different things. Perhaps you've been certified for first aid, right? Great, put that down. That can be particularly important for somebody. Does the job say that you need to travel and you've got a driver's license? Hey, I've got a driver's license, right? And if you've got a driver's license that allows you to operate more than one particular kind of vehicle, maybe you want to put that down just in case it becomes relevant, right? So put any of those professional certifications, micro-credentials, any of those kinds of things that you have obtained a particular certification through. Human resources has certification processes. Put that down. Even if it's not directly relevant for the job, but it's adjacent, you want to include it.
To be shown in the resume?
That you achieved a scholarship can be relevant, yes, absolutely, especially if it is a high-profile scholarship. Yeah, if it's a high-profile scholarship that has a big name attached to it, that's for a significant amount of money, it's probably worthwhile mentioning it, because it probably then is like, oh, only really smart people get this scholarship, therefore I know this person is really smart that they got it, right?
Yeah.
In your skills, you want to list any relevant both hard and soft skills, all right? So hard skills are easy to quantify. Hey, you're looking for a computer programmer. I've got computer programming skills. I speak this language, this language, this language, this language, and I'm certified, blah, 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 right? The soft skills, you're also looking for somebody to program video games. I'm also a creative RPG player, I do storytelling, and I'm a published author, right? Ooh, those are some soft skills that also are relevant to video game design and computer programming. That is an additional great skill to put in there. When you're putting your skills down, you need to be honest about your proficiency levels, all right? I used to work in theater, film, and television, and one of the skills that I have is I can do some juggling, but I can only do 3-ball juggling and 3-club juggling. If you're looking for somebody that's gonna do, yes, I say I can juggle, right? But I also say 3-ball juggling. I don't want to give the impression that you can hire me and I'm gonna suddenly be like juggling a whole bunch of chainsaws or 5 clubs or doing things like that. I make it very clear, this is my simple skill level. I can do that. Any volunteer work or extracurricular activities that you do, especially if they provide some additional skills or relevance to the work experience, right? So, hey, I volunteer with this particular organization, and specifically, I help them in their, I'm applying for a design job, and I specifically help them with their social media outreach and capacity. It's like, ooh, great. It's relevant to the skill, and it shows that they are connected to the community. What I can ask is, hey, this job requires that you be available on evenings and weekends. Is that going to be a problem? And now you have the opportunity to say yes or no based on your personal situation, right? Which may or may not have anything to do with your marital status or whether you have kids or any of those other things, right? So the law is there to try and encourage employers to think not, I'm going to just say it's because of this factor that somebody would or wouldn't be a good fit, but to actually ask the questions that might be important around that. You need to be fluent in English, and we would expect an equivalency of, and then they would list a standard that is recognized by government or industry, right? So for example, you may already have needed to have passed a language test to get your international student, right? And you needed to achieve a particular qualification for that in order to be accepted, right? Or to get your work permit for the job that you applied for that work permit, you may have already had to have passed a language test with a particular, what's called the working interview, all right? Where, for example, you're applying for a job as a dishwasher, and the employer says, listen, why don't you come in, work Friday night between this hour and this hour, it's our busiest time. If you can handle that workload, we'll call that your interview, and if you can do that in a way that's reasonable, after that I'll hire you. Well, no. What they're saying is come work for me for free, and if I like what you do, then I'll pay you. That's not allowed. If you're doing the work, they have to pay you, okay? Now, that is not the same as an employer saying, hey, we've done an interview, we've liked what you've done, we'd like you to do this skills assessment to make sure that you've got the skills that we need for this job, right? So here's a couple of different scenarios. We'd like you to sort of answer these scenarios, fill in this chart, do this kind of a thing. A skills assessment can be a legitimate part of a job application, but it should be very clear that it's not actually doing work for the company. So for example, the job that we were just hiring for example, I was like, here's the skills assessment, but it was very clear, it's like, this is a ridiculous example of the kind of thing that you might need to do for me. But it's clear that in fulfilling this example, you're not going to be doing any work that I could legitimately use because this is a ridiculous scenario, right? So it was very clear that like, yes, I'm asking you to demonstrate that you've got some skills and that's going to take some time for you, but I'm not getting free labor out of you because I'm not going to be able to use the work that you've done to advance my work. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right.
Whew. Conclusion. Finally. To conclude, we have a few points to remember, I believe. Your key to success, okay? So you want to be successful, you need to remember those things, remember your resume is your personal marketing tool. That's how you market yourself. And also you need to tailor it, we mentioned that, to showcase your relevant skills, experiences, and ATS, optimize for it, and also optimize it for human readers as well. And you want to focus on achievements and quantifiable results. Always do that and keep it concise, professional, and free from personal information. And lastly, let's remember as we need to continuously update our resume as we gain new skills and experiences. Those are things to take away.
And we're here for you.
How can I help you? We can help you with your career boost, standout resumes, cover letters, polished LinkedIn profiles we just mentioned, and interview confidence training and job search strategy. That's regarding job coaching, and also will help you find your dream job and career, major, and also will help you realize your Canadian dream by helping with your PR pathway planning, and also your immigration guidance as well. Right now, a lot of people are starting to learn French in order to boost their score for PR. So we offer French training as well. Not me, I don't speak French, but like there are people who are pretty good teach you French. And also a lot of people are doing different English tests as well. Again, in order to boost their PR application scores. We can help you with that as well. We also help you with smooth landing and personal support, job application tailoring, and career planning. All those things, pretty much everything you can think of, we can help you. And this is our contact information. We're everywhere. This is our Western social media. This is our Chinese social media. We have 4 big groups where we accommodate everyone from all different parts of the world. Welcome to join our family where we share a lot of resources with everyone. We believe that will be very beneficial for you, so you might want to take a picture of it. Okay, all right then. Thank you.
So thank you very much. We hope that you found this useful, that you got some knowledge.
We have a lot of people sign up. We don't have rooms for registration anymore, but you guys showed up, and other people are didn't show up. That's why I feel like actions speak louder than words. Always do it, and then as long as you keep consistent, keep striving for it, you get there. You're halfway there already. We are your champions. We're gonna help you with whatever you need. Okay? Yeah, that's about it.
Thank you guys. Thank you.